Rebecca Lilly was surrounded by a team of 20 specialists, each of whom took turns to gently explain to the distraught mother why they couldn't save her 15-month-old baby boy. With rapidly growing tumors throughout his tiny body, he had a large growth on the entire right side of his skull, impacting his ear canal and wrapped around his carotid artery. Within months, the tumor would completely block his airway. What were we supposed to do? Sit back and watch him die? Rebecca, 39, says. With Harrison, 3, and husband Luke, baby Dexter was the final piece to her family puzzle.
Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
But when Dexter was welcomed into the world, Rebecca noticed some abnormalities. He had a sunken chest, several birthmarks over his body, and an oddly shaped head. Birth staff dismissed the Brisbane mum's concerns, but she couldn't shake the feeling something else was wrong. Rebecca continued to raise her observations, yet doctor after doctor turned her away. It wasn't just the physical differences his mum was noticing, but also his behavior. He was a really unsettled baby, waking up during the night, always upset and crying. Just not a happy baby at all, Rebecca said. Plus, as he got bigger, the marks on his body started spreading and more spots were appearing. But again, her concerns were dismissed. He wasn't an unhappy baby, he was crying out in pain. Rebecca Lilly. The doctors just kept telling me that not all babies are perfect, she says. Basically, they were saying I was overreacting. However, when Dexter was about 13 months old, Rebecca caught her son's reflection in a mirror. Describing it as a flipped image, the mum claims her son's face was so misshapen there was actually no symmetry at all. When she looked at his reflection, Dexter looked like a completely different person. His face was so distorted, Rebecca says. When you looked at him, you didn't really notice, but when you looked at him in a mirror it was like looking at an entirely different baby. Like that wasn't my baby at all. Desperate, the mother sought a referral for a pediatrician so she could get some specialist advice. Finally, after 6 GP visits, the last doctor passed on a referral. It was basically, there is nothing wrong, but if you really want a referral, here you go, she says. The pediatrician instantly recognized the reason behind Dexter's physical characteristics. He didn't even run any tests. He just looked at Dexter and diagnosed him with neurofibromatosis, Rebecca says. Neurofibromatosis is an incurable genetic condition that presents in coffee-colored spots on the skin and the growth of benign tumors throughout the body. Some symptoms of neurofibromatosis can be treated, and many with the condition can live long lives. But in some more severe cases, the fast growth and placement of the tumors can restrict vital organs and can even cause death. With more than 30 of these café au lait marks, coffee-colored spots, over his body, Dexter needed an immediate full-body MRI. He was an innocent baby. What did he do to deserve this? Rebecca Lilly. The doctor told us not to Google neurofibromatosis, Rebecca says, conceding she and Luke did, in fact, turn to the internet search engine. He said Dexter probably has a more mild case, so the worst case scenario would be he has some developmental delays. When I took Dexter for the scans, I kept telling myself, he just has a mild case. It was an agonizing 2-week wait for Dexter's MRI results. Rebecca went into the appointment with the 15-month-old bouncing on her lap, hopeful the tumors were sparse. Devastatingly, that was not the case. The toddler was riddled with them. Dexter had rapidly growing tumors on the right side of his brain, one in his ear canal, another wrapped around his carotid artery, and one blocking his airway. A tumor even made up half of his tongue. His tumors were plexiform neurofibroma, a fast-growing mass that infiltrates the nerves. Doctors had to move fast. The tumors were outgrowing him. Rebecca Lilly. Everything made sense, Rebecca says. Dexter was so upset because the tumors were pressing on his bones and nerves. He wasn't an unhappy baby, he was crying out in pain, and the only thing that would comfort him was a cuddle from me. I basically just burst into tears. Dexter was so tiny. He was an innocent baby. What did he do to deserve this? The mum says. Within days, the family was meeting with a team of 20 specialists at the hospital. They just went around the table telling me why they couldn't operate on him, Rebecca says. One said surgery would kill him, another said he would bleed out on the table. There was just no treatment, no surgery. Nothing. The tumors were outgrowing him. At the rate his tumors were growing, his airways would be obstructed in a few months. But sitting back and doing nothing was not an option for Rebecca. Her shock quickly turned into anger as the mum searched for anything to save her son. That's when she came across a trial for a new drug used to stop the rapid tumor growth. The drug, trametinib, had already yielded some results, with the first phase of the inaugural Australia-led trial completed at Westmead Hospital in NSW. The trial was seeking participants for Phase 2, with just 10 candidates selected worldwide. Rebecca hoped Dexter was a possible candidate. I hated that I was that person, but I annoyed every person I could to get Dexter in front of the leading oncologist for the trial. I needed to at least try, Rebecca says. After a lengthy 2-month wait, the Lillies received a phone call from the trial organizers. Dexter had not been given one of the coveted 10 spots. Heartbroken, Rebecca looked into the drug, available to purchase from the US. It would have cost the family $250,000 Australian dollars a year to keep their son alive. We were just completely lost, the mum says. A few weeks later, an out-of-the-blue phone call changed their lives. A place had become available in the trial and Dexter was in. I try not to think about how or why Dexter got a spot, Rebecca candidly admits. Making a semi-permanent move from Brisbane to Ronald McDonald House in Sydney, Dexter started his treatment. And Rebecca claims you could see an improvement as he began taking a tablet each day. When he pokes out his tongue, you can still see the tumor, but they have stopped growing. Coronavirus travel restrictions ultimately derailed Dexter's ability to physically participate in the Sydney trial. Instead, the family received the go-ahead, on compassionate grounds, for indefinite, free use of the drug, which they obtained from their local pharmacy in Brisbane. Dexter, now 7, now calls his cafe au lait, marks his superhero spots, and even has names for them. He is now in grade 2, wears glasses and has a hearing aid. We don't know what will happen if he stops taking this pill. We have heard of cases in the US where they have stopped taking the medication and their tumors start growing. For now, we are just happy he is happy and healthy. Doctors have warned the Lillies that when Dexter reaches puberty his tumors may grow, despite the treatment. For now, the family is counting every day with Dexter as a blessing. He is the most remarkable, toughest little kid, Rebecca says. He is honestly just an inspiration to us all.
Thanks for watching until the end. Watch the videos on your screen and subscribe for more amazing stories.